Hey G.I. Joe fans, Joe Motion Videos 82 here. It is time for another G.I. Joe toy review. Let's go ahead and set the way back clock to 1991. 91. Mullets. Country music was in its heyday. The kids that were skater the year before were all of a sudden dressing up like cowboys. At least in my school. Stonewashed jeans. Girls with the big dorsal fin on their head, curled their hair up really high. Big hair was still in at the time. I had a wave. When I did have hair, my hair was actually pretty thick back then. It started falling out when I was 15. But I still had plenty of hair to, get that part at the side and spray it down with Aquanet, get a nice little helmet head going on there, and then I'd take my fingers and put a little dip in my bangs, so when I part them off to the side I had this little wave going on there. Oh, I wish I could find pictures of that. I would share them with you so you knew what I looked like when I had hair. But I do have a picture when I was in the 6th grade. There I am. Yeah. See the difference? Oh my gosh, I wore my hair in that bowl cut for years, and it wasn't until junior high when I started parting it off to the side. A friend of mine told me to change it. My best friend, after John moved, got to junior high, met this guy named Clinton Hyman. Don't laugh at the last name, it's spelled differently. He didn't like that very much. His name was Clinton. I called him Clint Hyman. People, you could kind of go from there. This is a family show. So he's a very even-tempered guy, so fortunately he just let it roll off his back, but I got more upset, people insulting my friend. He and I, as thick as thieves, were still best friends to this day. I'm sure John and I would have been too if he didn't move. Yeah, he's a good man. So anyway, so back to 1991. It was high school. I had the big wave going on. I had gotten my first job. This is my not my junior year, but my sophomore year in high school. And I was working at a store called Coach House Gifts. It was a neat little store. I got that job just by being persistent. I would call every 2 or 3 days asking if they had a chance to review my application. Finally, they called me in for an interview and hired me. They didn't intend on hiring anybody after that, but they did. There's something about me that they liked, and they ended up keeping me for 2 years after that. So, needless to say, that job worked out for me. But so I was working about 15 hours a week. I think that was the maximum that a minor could work back then. So I'd make about 60 bucks every 2 weeks, which wasn't bad for the 90s. And most of that money went to girls. And Clint and I would, go out cruising or whatever, and I'd help him with gas. And we'd go on double dates and stuff. But occasionally I would buy G.I. Joe. I was definitely not playing with toys by that time, but I was still buying them. I had a kid brother 7 years younger than I was, so he would play with whatever I bought. So that was my justification. One of my friends catch me buying toys. Oh, I'm getting this for my kid brother. Oh, okay, that's cool. No, they knew. They knew I was buying it for myself. This is the year that I bought the 1991 Cloudburst. And as we know, Cloudburst is a part of the Air Commandos line. Sorry, my cat is in here bugging me. He's part of the 19 sorry, part of the Air Commandos line. As we know, Air Commandos came with this really awesome glider. I think you were buying the, in my opinion, buying the glider, I have it hanging from my ceiling, and getting the action figure free. This glider looks like it was made out of a single piece of plastic, and it was held together by 2 rivets here and here, and then it was kind of a heat seal right here for the airfoil. These do fly really well. I would do a demo on it, but I have a very small backyard and I am very afraid that it will go over the neighbor's fence. And he has a dog that is, we call him Cujo. He's pretty aggressive, so I don't want to take a chance in getting bit. I was bit a long time ago. I think I was 14. I was bit by a German Shepherd, and I still have the scar on my arm. I beat the living daylights out of the kid that sicked the dog on me. So, you know, I was a little ill-tempered at the time. Neither here nor there. So, let's get back into the review. Cloudburst was first released carded as part of the 10th series in '91 with the Air Commandos, as I had aforementioned. He was discontinued domestically in 1991. Yeah, he had one year on the shelves, but they had other Air Commandos that were put out, and as we know, in the 90s, they didn't keep things on the shelf like they did back in the 80s, you know, for a year, 2 years, and then released in the Hasbro Direct, and they would be resold. These toys only lasted a year, and they would cycle them through and retool them, repaint them, blah blah blah, but they didn't do that with the Air Commandos, at least the gliders. It originally sold for $2.99, which was 39 cents more than your average action figure. A normal carded figure sold for $2.60. So yeah, you're paying a little bit more, but you're getting an action figure and a vehicle at the same time. The packaging was a little bit bigger, obviously, because they had to, I hope you could see that. Yeah, there you go. The packaging contained the glider and the action figure, so it took up a lot of space out on the pegs. And I had gotten lucky because I walked into Walmart and they were just putting these out. I was there on a Saturday morning, and so they were still stocking the shelves, and they were putting these out, and I got lucky. I got to see them come out of the box, and then I said, I'll take that one. And the dude was like, oh, wait till they get on the shelves, and I took it anyway. It was a jerk. No, I'm kidding. I waited till he put everything out. I was being polite, so I was looking at all the other G.I. Joes. And I almost bought, and I regret never buying it, I almost bought the Headhunters that day. And then I saw the Air Commandos, and I thought, oh cool, I'm going to get one of those. And I'm kicking myself in the butt, because I really didn't know about army building at the time, and you know, I really, you know, of course we couldn't see the future either. So anyway, missed out on a good opportunity. Let's go ahead and take a look at this action figure. Okay, here he is. There's his Cloudburst and his glider. What could I say about this guy? He is definitely a 90s action figure. Yeah, bright colors, nothing military about him except for a little bit of the paint scheme on him. He's quite interesting, I'll tell you that. He did come with 2 accessories. He came with this hot pink rifle. It looks like it may be an MP5 with a silencer on it. Maybe. Has somewhat of a real world look. And the visor on him. This is a piece that's commonly missing because he was a action figure that you could attach to a glider and throw, and it landed right on the action figure. So a lot of these visors ended up missing. So that's the part you chase after on the internet most of the time. You could see the only real military part, in my opinion, are the classic sculpted on grenades. He has a knife sculpted onto his chest, and he also has a sculpted on pistol. It's pointing right down to his buttocks. So if he crash lands, let's hope that it doesn't go off. Also has 2 pouches sculpted onto his belt, and the belt is, it looks like it's a web belt, goes all the way around his waist. He has a harness and these bright pink pads, these hot pink pads on his white pants, and he has these spats that go over his legs and boots, keep the wind from blowing his skirt up, and white gloves, not to mention a bright yellow shirt with a black vest over the top of it. I do like the color scheme on him, you know, especially the black part on him. That really looks good. The black over the white, kind of, you know, retro 70s look, but it works for this action figure. And as for the glider, it's pretty cool. I mean, like I mentioned before, it's made out of one piece of plastic. It has a rubber bumper guard here on the nose that protects this gun, and when it does make a nosedive, the gun doesn't snap off. The gun does swivel around. That's a pretty cool feature. I really didn't pay attention to that until I studied this for the review and noticed that the gun does turn. So that is literally the first time I turned it since I purchased this. And on the bottom is a frame with a clip on it. This is something that they updated from the Viper and the Falcon gliders. Instead of just a clip holding your pilot on, he had foot pegs as well. And I'm not going to force him onto the pegs, because I don't want to take a chance in breaking, cracking his heels. The pegs are kind of thick, but you see, I'm shaking that with pretty good force. The clip does hold him pretty good. This only had one maiden flight. That's when I first purchased it. So it has a 1990 Hasbro stamp on it. So that's when they got their patent. And then of course it has that digital camo pattern on it. This really does scream the 90s though, doesn't it? And hi Mickey, he agreed with me. But this is definitely a hang glider's uniform. I apologize for not having his file card, but I did print it off of yojo.com. Says, let's put it down here for you. Codename Cloudburst. Under it says Glider Trooper, and this is a nice picture of him without his goggles. that showed on the card art. His file name, oh, another macho sounding name here, Ram Chuck. His name is Chuck Ram. Oh, it's just like Jim Steele, huh, from last week. Serial number is 0634848 RG31. By this time they were putting letters into serial numbers out of fear of copying a real military serial number, so I think that was really nice of Hasbro to do that. Primary military specialty aeronautics. This man could have been making a fortune designing airplanes and space shuttles, but no, he decides to fly a glider. Secondary military specialty infantry. Birthplace San Diego, California. He is an E4, which makes him a specialist. I would think with an aeronautics degree, I'm assuming this is a degree, that they would have made him more than an E4, at least an E7 or E8. The middle paragraph, it says no content with simplifying hang gliders. Cloudburst designed and built his own working prototype as a teenager in San Diego. Later, after joining the Army, he was instrumental in the development of ultra-stealth gliders for military recon and special troop insertion, currently on special assignment to the G.I. Joe team as the in-house glider specialist. Okay. Bottom paragraph. Cloudburst won't settle for almost or pretty good. He is constantly updating his gliders and redesigning his flight gear to cut down on drag and radar signature. He knows his own services will be called upon when all other methods... Sorry about that. All other methods for covert troop insertion are deemed impractical and can happen only if the situation is hairy to the max. That's hairy to the max, yeah. Okay. I do a terrible Valley Girl. Grody to the max. Remember that one? I have to laugh about that. Hairy to the max. That just really gags me with a spoon. I don't remember a lot of the slang from the time, but I think by the 90s things had attitude. He's a skater with attitude. That's a dog with attitude. You know, everything with attitude meant they had a bad temperament, a bad disposition. So things got hairy with attitude. Oh man, God, those times were nice. Wow, that really got me reminiscing. I'm gonna have to find my yearbooks and go through those again. My gosh. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's not a top shelf figure for me, or action figure, or vehicle, because of the glider, which was very well made. We had the Falcon gliders. Sorry about that. Which were just a very thin piece of styrofoam. They broke real easy. That made them. People just weren't buying them. Stores were trying to give them away. You know, just literally selling them below cost just to clear them through. And the only thing good that came from the Falcon gliders were the action figures. I can grunt. I don't own a Falcon glider. I doubt I ever will own a Falcon glider, given the expense. People are selling, and rightfully so, they're selling them for quite a bit of money. They, like I said, they're just real flimsy. It was like Hasbro got a hold of a bunch of Big Mac containers and said, hey, let's use this styrofoam from these Big Mac containers to make these gliders. And they did. It was that thin of styrofoam. So it took them a decade, but they did give us this very nice glider. Instead of tail fins, this little airfoil on the back works real well. It really does. This thing does fly. It flies really well. It will do loops and turns. And like I said, wasn't for my small backyard, I'd demonstrate it. So if you are looking for this on the aftermarket, they are out there. I only found 2 right now that are for sale. The gliders, they go for around $8 on up, depending on condition. You will find most of these complete, you know, given the age and the lackluster of them. So you will find them complete out there. As I remember, you know, a few months ago, I was looking for the file card and for Cloudburst, and saw a bunch of these that were being sold. The action figure by himself, I did see one that was being sold by himself complete. He's a little more expensive because of his goggles. They were asking 20 bucks for him. It was a flat rate on him. The file card, I remember from other from other Air Commandos, they were selling for around $2.99, which isn't bad for a file card. Given that a lot, I shouldn't say a lot of them didn't get saved, but it was something that really wasn't held on to, in my opinion. Obviously there's a lot out there, but they also came in vast numbers. So I would say that not the majority, but anyway, you get the point. Sorry, I'm pretty tired. I had a rough night last night. And the glider with the figure carded, I remember seeing it for $49.99, and that's carded, so I'll go with that. That's a decent price. And complete loose with the action figure, no file card, about $29.99 was the asking price on that. So I ask you, pardon me here. Sorry, sneezing fit. So I hope that you enjoyed this review. I found it challenging. This one was challenging, but I wanted to show you guys something different. Just like I did last week. I haven't seen anybody review any of the Air Commandos as of yet. So I thought it would be nice to show something different for a change. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I do enjoy making it. Did enjoy making the review for you guys, but like I said, it was I was hard pressed to find some decent things to say about this, and I wasn't all that impressed with it as the years went on. But as a kid, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Like I said, I threw this once in the backyard. I don't know if my little brother played with it or not, but it did fly really well. So don't forget about my giveaway that I will be holding once I reach 100 subscribers. I have 2 items, 2 toys that I am giving away. The winner has a choice to select between the 2. It's either one or the other. And once I reach 100, I will make an announcement video and hold the giveaway. But you do, to be entered into these drawings, you do have to make your profile public. It's not my rule. It's YouTube. It's not really their rule, but if you want people to see who you are, you have to have your profile public, and that shows up under my subscriber list, and I can see your screen name, and that's the list that I copy and cut off your screen, cut the screen name out of off the cup. You know what I mean. When I photocopy it, I'll just clip your screen name and throw it into a box for the drawing. Trying to complicate something that's simple. I gotta get more sleep. So stay tuned for next week. I will be doing another G.I. Joe. I think I did Cobra to death. So I'll be looking at another G.I. Joe. I think this is it's the last review for August. So September is going to be Tiger Force month. Yeah, finally get to review Tiger Force. Yes. So next month is dedicated to Tiger Force. So we are definitely looking at a G.I. Joe. And this is one thing I really like about Tiger Force is that they redid old vehicles. They repainted old vehicles, repainted old action figures, and that gave kids like me who didn't have a chance to get it through the first run to buy it again. And for me, that was the dog's bollocks, man. I thought that was great. It filled that void that I had. I didn't have Flint version 1, but I had Tiger Force Flint. And it's like, yeah, finally got Flint. I finally got Duke. Finally got Bazooka. And those were my first. Duke and Bazooka were my first two, but I'll get into that when I talk about them. Tiger Force. Yes, they are great. Okay. I should have saved that joke for Tiger Force. But anyway, thank you guys so very much for tuning in, for putting up with me. Seriously, you guys are great. I know that I'm not that animated. I'm not as good as a lot of those reviewers out there. But the important thing is I'm doing it. I'm trying. I hope I'm getting better. But I do really appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You are the best. You stuck with me. You're sending me comments. Oh, you guys are great. So thank you very much for subscribing to this channel and for giving me a chance. I really do appreciate it. So this has been Joe Motion Videos 82 signing off. Have a great day. Bye-bye.